Alright, y'all, so I'm back out and about again, and like I had already said before previously, that I was gonna go ahead and make a few videos just speaking on some things on my mind right now, man. And one of the issues that's really come across my mind today is about this younger generation, man, and what they are going through and experiencing and facing and see. And I speak on this because when I was younger, and I think I've already said this before in one of my other videos, I was raised in a single parent home with just my mother. And a lot of the problem nowadays is that same problem, because we spoke on this earlier before, and I spoke about it because of the family unit being broken and separated apart, and how families just ain't staying together no more and stuff. And I know this is an issue that needs to be talked about because there's a lot of young men and women and people who, what they're lacking right now is the proper role models, people who, and I'm not just talking about these people who you see on TV and in the movies and stuff like that. I'm talking about proper role models who are promoting a clean lifestyle, and that I know they're out there. I know there's a lot of them out there who are doing that, and props to y'all who is doing that, and everyone who is doing things for positivity and stuff like that. But and I'm speaking from experience because this is what I was lacking a lot in my life, especially my younger years, it wasn't until I got a little bit older where I experienced someone come into my life, and this was my uncle, man, who was actually one of the best people, and rest in peace to him, my Uncle Steve Hodge, man. And I got his picture here on my dash. I'm riding with it today. I was thinking about him again today, man. And but rest in peace to him. He got murdered out at the fruit stand. This was back in 2006, where he was working from a robbery. And the thing was, it happened, actually it even happened on the same, which this is very strange, man, and uncanny, but it happened on the same day, September 25th, as when my house was shot up in the drive-by shooting. And that's just crazy to me, man. But it was September 25th, 2006, when that happened to him. Or it could have been September 26th. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but it was one of them days. Anyways, it was real close. I just know it was real close to the same date as when our house got shot in the drive-by. But I spoke about him one time before on one of my walking talks about how he was actually he actually kind of took on the role as a father figure to me, because he used to work with his hands all the time and be doing things all the time, man. And he taught me how to do that. And he showed me a lot when I was younger, I say this is back in my 20s and stuff like that, because I had got into the same thing, like you do when you're young, sowing your wild oats and stuff like that, messing with the wrong people in the wrong crowd, and smoking weed and stuff like that. And he was that person that was always there And that's the reason why I miss him so bad even today. And why I got his picture with me. I'm gonna keep it on my dash from now on, here with me. My Uncle Steve, rest in peace to him. If y'all see him there in the picture. I don't know if I can get that on the camera, but anyway, that was me and him back then. And yeah, man, he showed me, like, how to work with my hands a lot, and how to find hobbies and things to do. He used to put together like 1,000-piece puzzles and stuff like that. And he used to, like, always be in the yard building things, like just building things, like building things like rabbit cages and stuff like that. Put rabbits in, and building birdhouses, and building he built on a porch onto the side of his house, like a screened-in porch. He was like a carpenter, He was good at building things, man. And I actually helped him do some of that stuff, back then. And helped him put together, like, the puzzles and stuff like that. But I was just sitting here thinking about that, man, and thinking about, like, that's what a lot of the youth needs now, man, is more people who can show them how to do that kind of thing. And a lot of more of the just the younger generation needs that, man. Not just the youth, I'm talking about adults too. We all need it, really. We just all need to be doing things, building things, working with working with our hands. Because I found out that, during some of my most difficult times, man, like, just when I was building things and doing things and working with my hands, even when I'm doing my music and stuff like that, or whatever I'm doing, that's creative, like even creating these videos, whatever, any of that, anything that's positive, you know what I mean, on a positive level, that's what the world needs more of right now. The world just needs more of that, in my opinion, man. Honestly, because when my Uncle Steve passed, like, that really affected me hard, man, in a bad way, because in a hard way, in a way that was, like, much different, because it was just really difficult, because, and I got people rolling up next to me while I'm filming, so I'm just gonna kind of move a little bit into different locations and stuff. I don't like it when people ride up next to me. But anyway, like I was saying though, man, it's like, I was saying, it's like that. Like, people just need more positivity in the world right now, man, for real. And to find new outlets of doing things, anything besides, getting mixed into drugs or alcohol or all this that's just pulling so many people down, like, just all this stuff that's and there just needs to be more people who's lifting people up instead of pulling people down, and I don't know what it's going to take, or how much it's going to take for that to start to happen anymore. You know what I mean? I'm each and every one of us, I know, is doing our own little thing to contribute, and I'm doing my part, here on my channel or whatever. But yeah, I was just thinking about all that right now, and like, how, like, it really is harder for people when they are raised in a family where it's only one parent, you know, it's harder for them. And it's just like, you know, it opens so many people, especially young men, you know, up to being involved in criminal activities and stuff like that, because they're looking for some kind of, you know, some kind of role model, you know, some kind of role model. And I know, I'm sure, like, me personally, I think that maybe I may have, I can't really quite say definitively for sure, but I think I may have had a much more likely chance of not taking some of the routes I would have took in my past, had I had that role model there for me all the time. And like I said, if my Uncle Steve hadn't gotten taken from me and passed away back in 06, man, because like, he was that one person who I always knew I could go to, and he had that light inside of him as well, because he was the type of person who, he showed me things too about like not saying nothing to certain people and stuff like that, when they was like, he knew the whole thing about the power of silence as well, you know, which I didn't really fully grasp it at that time, but now I have later on, when I think back to him and about like some of the things he showed me back then. Like, I think about it now, man. You know, I think about it now, and I know he knew all that. See, he went through them experiences. Like, life gives you more experiences, you know, the more you've lived and survived through in life, it shows you more. It gives you more experiences, you know. And so anyway, man, yeah, so that's what it is, you know. And that's just what I wanted to talk about right now, man, you know what I mean. And we just need to all, like, everybody needs to come together to motivate one another for, you know, things that are clean and good and pure and positive and all of that. And we need to do that more, like, but, you know, it's less like, it's hard when you are in situations that, like, you have no control over. I understand that, you know, like, but that's the reason why I lay all these things, I lay a lot of things in God's hands today, man, you know what I mean? And that's really all I can do, man, is just keep laying it all in God's hands every day, man, everything. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all, man. And you know, each day I'm growing a little bit more on my channel and stuff like that. It ain't nowhere where I would like it to be, but then again, I'm not doing this for views or nothing like that. I'm just doing this more of like a motivational thing, really, for myself. I could care less, you know, about all of that or anything like that. It's more just like, if it helps a few people and it helps me, then, you know, and if it grows later, then so be it, you know. I'm patient and I'm letting it grow as it grows and all that. But anyway, I just thought I would just leave this with y'all on the video real quick about that, though. But that was just some things I was thinking about, like, about how, like, the reason why we are seeing a lot of these problems right now in this day and age is because there's a lack of just godly men, man. Just men that's just willing to be there and be like, kind of like how my Uncle Steve was for me, that role model, man. But anyway, man, I guess I'll just leave that and cut the video real quick, because I'm gonna load the video. But anyway, till the next one, I'll catch y'all again, man. Peace.